everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Angela. I am a psychology student and I like to use psychology to make interesting videos that will hopefully add value to people's lives in a creative way. So, you saw the title, you clicked the video, I already know why you're here. Reason number one. Maybe you're considering making this decision for yourself, you don't know where to start, you're going back and forth, looking at the pros and cons, or you've made this decision and you just want to see somebody else's perspective in it. And lastly, you may be here just because you're curious and you just want to know. Regardless for your reason of being here, I hope that you leave this video feeling empowered about whatever decision that you decide to make. And my only goal is that I am able to encourage somebody to stick to what they really want. Whether it is to wait or whether it's not to wait. I think that this advice, at least for me growing up, was really useful. I personally made this decision for myself when I was about 16, 17 years old. That's when I made that decision and stuck to it, and haven't swayed since, and I'm now 21. It's been some years, I've gotten a little more experience this time, and I think that I can talk about it a little bit more. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and just get into this video, but before we do so, just make sure to give it a thumbs up. It's really good for the channel and it lets other people know this is a good video to watch. And also make sure to follow me on my socials. They're going to be somewhere on the screen. I'm going to just briefly talk about why I made this decision. Maybe I can go more in depth in a different video, but today I more so want to talk about the importance of boundaries around this. The main reason I made this decision was because I grew up in a Christian household and it was kind of just ingrained in me, especially by my mom. It was just very much ingrained, but she didn't ingrain it in me in a way of God is going to not like you if you do this before marriage. It was more so coming from a point of figuring out your boundaries and how it's actually very beneficial to take that step. So for me, when I made that decision, it was coming from a place of values. I really got to the point where I started to understand why that was in the Bible. I understood why God would want us to abstain until marriage. It wasn't to be mean or to deprive us of something that God created. It was just for protection and protecting us from what could potentially happen if we weren't practicing safe sex in a lifelong relationship. So that's one reason I made that decision. The second reason kind of ties into that. When we're not waiting, we can open ourselves up to so many things. We can open ourselves to potential of being hurt in several different ways. For one, there are STIs and STDs out there, and if you don't get hurt from that in itself, then there's a potential for heartbreak or an unplanned pregnancy. Of course, these things can happen within a marriage as well, but however, the assumption is that we're marrying somebody with integrity and that this wouldn't even be a factor. So for me, that's sort of the basis of my decision. It was coming from a place of, okay, I've really internalized these values. I understand why it is written in that way in the Bible. I understand why God is saying this could be hurtful to us. And I understand the importance of having boundaries around who I let access me in that way. So, okay, now that that spiel is out of the way, I want to focus the rest of this video on being able to give tools and my process, what I did to come to this decision, and hopefully encourage somebody if this is a decision that you have made or if this is something that you're thinking about making. The first thing you have to realize about waiting until marriage is that it's not always about religion. Your why has to be very secure, and it shouldn't be something that you are doing because you think that this is the right thing to do, because that's not going to hold, and it's not going to be enough for you to really follow through with that. Sometimes when we make decisions off of fear, like we think, okay, I don't want to be intimate before marriage because I don't want God to send me to hell. When we're making a decision from fear like that, it's just not healthy. It's not a healthy decision from you. You're not making it from a place of love and understanding. You're not making it from a place of knowing the value of it. You're just making the decision because that's what you think you should do. And as I've stated before, that's not going to work. That's not going to last. What I did personally is I sat down and I thought about it, and I asked myself this one question: if I could have it how I wanted, what would I really want? How would I really want it to play out? Deep down, underneath all the layers, the culture, the society we live in today, what do I actually want? And how would I want to be treated? How do I want to feel? I asked myself this question, and of course the answer was I would want to wait. I would honestly want a relationship that was established off of the foundation of me and this person both in agreement, and establishing that we both think that it's worth waiting for and it's worth working on without that in the equation. And also understanding that when you're dating, this person may not be your person. You don't know who your person is going to be. And for me, I had to come to the point of, is it really worth it experiencing this with somebody who's just going to be a name on the list? For me, it wasn't worth it, because what I really, really wanted and how I really wanted it to unfold, I wanted that deep connection, that soul connection, and I wanted it to make sense. I wanted it to last. So that would be the very first thing to do, is to find your why outside of what you think you should do. Really, really get to the bottom of your heart. I always say you wanna just unzip, like a zipper, just unzip yourself, unzip your heart, and ask yourself, okay, well, what do I really want? Is this what I really want? Do I really want to do this, or am I doing this because the culture says I should do this, or am I doing this because my religion says I should do it? You have to get to the real root of the why, because without that, you're not gonna last in that decision. It's not. It's not gonna last, right? Because I had my why established at a young age, I was able to stick to that. Even though at one point I walked away from my faith, I just was still so steadfast and held on to my why and the promise that I made to myself that I was only gonna do that with my husband, right? You guys can watch my testimony. It's gonna be on the screen, of how I walked away from my faith for a bit and then came back to Jesus. It's a whole long story, but if you're interested, it's gonna be on the screen. But when I walked away from that, I was still able to stick to my decision and know why I'm doing it, because I had reasons established outside of religion, although religion was a factor. The second thing that I want to bring up is something that I feel may act as a deterrent for people when making the decision to wait until marriage. I just want to debunk this and throw this misconception out of the window. Basically, to sum this up, if you are worried about somebody rejecting you because of this specific standard of waiting until marriage, I'm here to tell you that you can throw that worry out of the window. Like, you just get rid of it. The main point I want you to take from this section of the video is that this boundary is for you specifically. At the end of the day, I think the most important thing to remember here is that it is up to you, and you should not feel pressured ever. A guy who is genuinely interested in getting to know you and investing time in you and in seeing a potential in a future with you is not going to be scared away by you saying you want to wait for sex until marriage. I'm just going to throw in my personal experience as an example. I've never had a negative reaction whenever it came to that topic. I've never had somebody say, no, we're done, I don't want to do this. If anything, at least in my life, it created the opposite reaction. Ultimately, I don't think that this is going to scare away anyone who's genuinely interested in getting to know you. And I think that if it does scare a guy away, it's because that's all he was looking for to begin with. If all this person was interested in was to do a friends with benefits situation or a hookup, then it's of course going to scare the person away, because they're not going to be getting that from you. And that's good news, actually, because we don't want to be in a relationship where we're not valued. The truth of the matter is, feeling valued is the most important part about this. Is you want to feel like you are more than just that for this person, and that you are bringing to their life more than just your body. Okay, so this leads me into my next point, and I think that this is the most important point in the video, because this is ultimately going to carry you through this process, not just waiting for marriage, but it's going to give you a guideline, and it's going to help you set your boundaries in a way that is going to help you make dating fun. It's going to make it easy, and it's also going to give you the respect that you deserve in the process. So I like to call this process making your toolkit, putting together your toolkit, putting together your container, your armor, and within this container you have all of your boundaries. You have all your boundaries established in order, and this helps you relax in the dating world. This helps you relax not just in dating, but in any scene, because boundaries are boundaries. And how you do one thing is usually how you do everything. So your boundaries that you set within your romantic relationships are probably also going to, in a way, translate into friendships, business, whatnot, right? So you want to make sure that you're making your container. So how I went about this process is I sat down, I pulled out my journal, and I got cozy, comfy. This is a really fun process. You want to make this fun, right? I'm going to invite you guys to do this too. Sit down, get a cute journal, some coffee, some tea, and list out all of your requirements and what it's going to take, and list out your standards. It's essentially about writing your standards, and I don't mean that in an egotistical way, like, oh, he's got to do this, 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 and this for me. I mean it in a genuine way, coming from a place of getting in touch with your true inner feelings. So this is the point in the video. This is the point in the process where you get to be completely honest with yourself. You get to be completely transparent, and you get to open up your heart. It takes so much confidence to be able to do this, to make this list of standards, and to trust. I'm going to give you an example of setting a container. Let's talk about a kiss. Setting a standard around a kiss. It's about asking ourselves the question, when am I going to feel comfortable sharing a kiss with somebody that I'm dating? Is it going to be after one date? Is the first date enough for me? Is just meeting him enough for me? Is 2 dates? Do I need 3 dates? And within those number of dates, what specific requirements need to be met for me to feel like, okay, I can kiss this person? Maybe I would have wanted this person to be consistent. If they've been consistent, they've been texting, they've been showing up, they took me out for a date, it was a nice date. Okay, these requirements are met. Now we're going on our second date. These requirements were met on the second date. Great. Now I can go ahead and go for the kiss. Now, dating isn't so black and white, rule by rule. This is just a general idea. And this general idea is going to help you relax within the process so that you're not overthinking, like, oh my goodness, should I do it now? Should I not? Because what we don't want to get in the habit of doing is giving special treatment, because that's what harbors the resentment, and that's what creates the potential of feeling like you got played or creating heartbreak. If you stick to the general scheme, the general idea of the list of the requirements of your container, then this will make this process a lot easier, and it'll actually make it fun. So it's just about establishing your personal requirements of entry and being comfortable and confident in them. You have to ask yourself, okay, what is it going to take? What is it going to take for me to get into bed with this man? Is it going to take a dinner? Is it going to take a drink at the bar? Is it going to take 3 months of dating? Is it going to take a year of dating? Is it going to take an engagement ring? Or is it going to take marriage? It's about you figuring out what boundary and what it's going to take for you to be able to give yourself to that person in that specific way. As I said before, it takes so much vulnerability, it takes so much confidence to be able to get to the point where you're like, okay, no, this is what I want, and this is what I'm going to stick to. Within this subject, the main question that I hear is people asking, well, is anyone even waiting anymore? What is the point? I'm not going to find somebody like that. All of these limiting ideas or beliefs behind this desire that you have. But it's important to remember that this decision is for you, and you made this knowing your values, knowing your standards, and knowing ultimately what it is that you want in the long run. It's about delaying that immediate gratification, being able to be steadfast and held into your opinion and your personal belief, and being able to say, yeah, I'm doing this because I want to do this. And that's all it should be. You doing something because you actually want to do it, whether you are waiting for marriage, whether you're not. No one decision is better than the other. You're not less valuable or more valuable because of a certain decision that you've made. Your intrinsic value stays the same regardless. However, at the end of the day, it's just about how you want to feel and how you want to be respected. So I think that that's the main reason that I made that decision, and that's how I came to my decision. Is I thought about, okay, I know that in this day it's not that common. I know that maybe it's going to limit my dating pool a little bit, but why do I need this copious amount of options when all I really want is one person? That was really the main decision for me, was wanting that God-centered relationship, was wanting the true connection, the deep connection, and seeing the value in that, and having that, and waiting for that, regardless of how long it takes. We're not saying it's easy, we're not saying it's difficult, but for me, I'm at the place now where I'm very comfortable and happy and secure in the decision, and I think that that's the main goal. We just want to be happy with the decisions that we've made for ourselves. Alright, so that is pretty much all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this video was helpful or entertaining in some way, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!